money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that fly, need that money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. Money, 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 money. We got that fly, Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. We love our black skin, our melanin, always focusing in on that money. We always win, money never thin, cause we hustling, always focusing in money, 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 money. We got that money, 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 money. We that fly Nubian money. Boss talk, don't it? We stack it up.
Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we're talking about automatic military registration and what it actually means. Right now, the government is moving towards registering young men for selective service automatically, using data they already have, so there is no sign up, no form, and once you turn 18, you are in the system. Selective service is required, and if you do not comply, you can lose access to federal student aid, certain jobs, and training programs, so this can follow you financially. This shift is happening because the government wants a more complete and efficient system with fewer people slipping through the cracks and more control over the database. The reality is a lot of young men do not even know this exists until it affects them. And for young Black boys, that lack of information can turn into lost opportunities. So the question is not just what it is whether you know you are in it and whether you understand what it can cost if you ignore it. Today, I am joined by the best queens in the world. First up, we have Dr. Felice, resident therapist and the B. Big coach. Hey, the B. Big coach. Hey. Looking good, sis. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dr. Charles. Good to see you.
You muted. Okay. And next, we have Dr. Angeline, creator of the Melanated Neurons, Communiverse. Oh, I like that, Melanated Neurons. Come on now. How you doing, Dr. Angeline?
Yes, I'm doing, people. I'm doing, you know how we do. We ready.
She's doing. I like that. That's straightforward. And last, but certainly not least, we have Ms. Dominique Morgan, registered nurse and real estate agent extraordinaire. How are you doing?
Period. I'm doing well. How are you?
All right. So basically, let's get into our first video, just discussing a little bit about this whole selective service thing. And by show of hands, ladies, how many of you know what the selective service is? Have y'all heard about that before?
I know what it is.
Yeah, I just know when you used to have to fill out stuff, it was there. You registered for selective service, but that doesn't apply to women, so that's a whole man thing. Do we have the video ready to go?
If you are a man between the ages of 18 and 25, the way you register for the draft is about to change permanently. I'm Fox News anchor Felice. The Selective Service system just announced it's moving to an automatic registration. For decades, you had to manually sign up within 30 days of your 18th birthday. Now, the government is taking over that responsibility. By December of this year, they will be using federal data to automatically put eligible men into the system. This includes virtually all male citizens and immigrants in that age bracket, even if you think you'd be exempt. To be clear, this does not mean a draft is happening right now. It just means the database is being modernized. Also, the law only applies to men. Women can enlist, but they don't have to register. I'm Felice from Fox 10 News. If you are a man...
Okay, so Dr. Felice, when did you first hear about the selective service?
So I was young, like I think when I was in high school, I think
you're muted, sis.
You can't hear me? I'm not mute.
No?
You can hear
I can hear you. Mhm.
Okay. I first heard about it when I was in high school. And I don't know what was going on in high school around that time, but I heard about it, but it wasn't automatic. It was on a voluntary basis that the men could go in and that they could sign up to be, or they had the possibility of being drafted if we were to be in war. So I did hear about it as young as that when I was in high school.
Okay. Thank you. And let's see, Dr. Sabrina, do you think that I'm sorry, Dr. Angeline, do you think that most men know about this whole selective service situation or requirement?
I don't think so. That's why my antennas went up a little bit, because I don't think they know. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I used to see it when did I remember seeing it? Oh, for financial aid. I think when we would have to fill out the FAFSA form, free application for federal student aid, they would have that box on there that, have you registered for selective service? So I guess they're not dependent on whether you're going to do it or not. It's automatic now, especially with everything being so automated. I guess I'm kind of not surprised about this, but yeah. So Dominique, what's your first reaction to automatic registration?
So my first reaction, I don't like it. Now, I'm not opposed to people going to the military, but forcing people to go, and especially in this climax where we have this war going on and we don't understand it, we're not clear about it. I just hate for people to have to be forced to do it. Now, I do believe that it's a potential opportunity for people that, don't know what they want to do, and they could potentially be set up in terms of, finances. It's almost like college, but not college. But I just don't believe that they should be forced to do it.
All right. She came with it. Okay. All right. So do any of you ladies have either served in the military or have family that has served in the military, close family?
So I actually had one of my best friends, because at one point I was interested in going into the Navy. But at the time, it just wasn't enough exposure. Like if it was right there, then I probably would have went. I had a friend that she started off with ROTC in high school. They paid for her to go to college. They gave her a stipend, and then she enlisted, which kind of gave me the motivation to want to do it. Again, I just didn't have the resources, and it worked out well for her. She's purchased homes. She was able to go to school, and she had no debt whatsoever. So it was something that at one point I was interested in. Wow.
Yeah, I definitely have military in the family. My father was in the Air Force. I actually have his flag from when he passed away that was draped over his casket. My sister's Air Force, and my daughter's father was, is in the Army. He's a major in the Army now. But when I was pregnant with our daughter, he got deployed to Afghanistan. So I spent my entire pregnancy alone. This is back when people were writing letters. I think they did let them have like a little email system, but it wasn't very ubiquitous. Again, war in Afghanistan, that was like 26 years ago. But he did make it back just in time for the birth. So I was fortunate, because there's quite a few military families that they don't see the birth of their children, but definitely have all kind of military in the family. Dr. Angeline, do you think the government should be able to utilize people's data like this?
No, I don't. I don't agree with it. Like Dominique, I don't agree with what they're doing. First of all, I don't trust the government to utilize anything of mine, especially now in this climate. I know the good parts that could happen, but I was like, this is a set up. I was like, I do not trust these folks. And especially when Donald Trump avoided going his own self. Now you're going to set up a system for and your kids and your family. Ain't none of them served. Now you want to set up a system for everybody else to automatic. No. And then you're the ones that keep saying the government is too much in our business. So I'm not understanding this. Well, I am, and it's some serious red flags for me.
Some flags. I haven't said hello to the chat, and I want to extend my apologies because we are 12 minutes in, and I gotta shout out the chat. So, chat, any of y'all served in the military? If you did, what branch? Put that in there. Hey, double A 82. Okay, good afternoon to you. Armando Wall says they use war for population control and to stealing resources. We pay for it in blood. Woo! That's deep. That is really deep. Dennis Pragan 6862 says, I went to prison in 2004 and received my selective service number. They said convicts will be the last to be called if need be. Baby, they gonna call them the convicts, child. Okay? I mean, if you can survive prison, you can survive a war. So, and they're able-bodied. Double A 82 says, hey, Air Force veteran, hey, all right, Air Force in the building. So what happens when you don't comply? Do people even know? Do y'all have any idea what's gonna happen? Are they gonna throw you in prison? Any ladies, Dr. Felice, you have any idea? What do you expect? Any speculation?
I think I read them saying that if they don't like register or they don't want to do it, they don't get a lot of the benefits that would be afforded to them if they did. So I don't think that that's a big issue because I don't know if the benefits are that great for them to say that they want to automatically sign up. I mean, right now there's no more DEI. So what benefits are they stating that they're going to miss out on if they don't automatically want to be listed in the draft or selected services? And so I think it's okay. I think it's a win-win if they don't want to do it. I think now though, I'm not surprised that it's being done automatically. I think that there's something bigger that they're planning for that's coming down the pipe. And I really think that we need to spread the word and let our friends, family, and everyone know what's happening so that they prepare, their young men for what's happening and educate them about what their options are and what outcomes could look like for them so that they can be prepared for whatever it is they choose to decide.
And then Dr. Felice, I just want to ask a follow-up question. Like, I know you can't disclose patient data or anything like that, but have you worked with veterans and what do you think like the psychology of this whole, like how this may affect men psychologically to be, to have this automated selective service thing go on now, be instituted?
So I have worked with veterans. They're a real specialized group, so they're not my specialty, but I have worked with them because their stuff can get really intricate, deep, and complex. And so I really do feel for our veterans, especially the ones who have experienced the trauma of war and what war can do on the psyche. I think it depends on the generation and who you're talking to when it comes to war and the possibility of war and signing up. I think this new generation, I think they have a different mindset than previous generations when it comes to what this could mean. I think they're more socially motivated. I don't think that a lot of them necessarily agree with what it is they're seeing in the news about this war and the lack of data and reasoning as to why we're possibly in war. I think they're more quick to protest than necessarily want to automatically be signed up. And I don't think that they have the mental, not all of them, but the mental capacity of what it means to be enlisted. Like going, even in the, from what I hear, when they go into the first few weeks, it's almost like a hazing process. You know what I mean? Like they're in a super steroid fraternity and they're being hazed to be able to build up their mental stamina for what it means and to prepare them for war. And I don't know if we've done a really good job of mentally preparing our younger, this Gen Z and afterwards, for what it really means mentally and then emotionally. So I think it's going to be real tricky. And I think that therapists are going to have to be on standby to be able to help families and these young men through it.
Wow. Okay. Dominique, I want to ask you this. Do you think that parents should be talking to their sons about this? I mean, because some families, they have one son. Like my sister, I have a niece and a nephew. She has only one son. So from a perspective of those families that could stand to lose a son, what kind of conversations do you think the parents should be having, or should they be having conversations?
So I do think that they should be having conversations, especially, kids that are in, like high school children, because military is an option for them. And then the fact that they could potentially be drafted, just having these real conversations. So I'm going to speak in terms of my daughter. I also, 2 years ago when she graduated college, I was kind of pushing her to do the reserves. And the reason being is they were going to, they give a stipend, a monthly stipend. I'm thinking about college. I'm thinking about all the benefits. And she would just do one weekend a month, her being able to travel. But when I went, the things that they were talking about, like they don't cover tuition 100% anymore. The benefits that are available, they're not the same as back in the day. So there was no motivation for her to really, really want to go. I felt like it would give her the structure, but the things that they get, they don't get. So you just having these conversations, and I actually sat down with a recruiter. And then let me take it a step further. A lot of these kids are not going to even qualify because of the fact that they may be on some kind of mental health medication. So they do a thorough background check in terms of a thorough medical, in terms of everything that you can have. And these kids that are on Ambien and any kind of, medication for their mental health, they don't even qualify for the military. So I don't know what that looks like for this selective enrollment, but there are a lot of pieces to it. And then I'm going to take it a step further. They also watched how the veterans in the past were treated and are treated when they come home. What's the motivation for them to go? So having all these conversations, because again, I'm not against it. If you don't know what you want to do, and this is a way to give you structure, you get some money towards your tuition, you do, get a stipend and they pay for housing and different things like that. That is an option. So I just think that we have to have real honest conversations about what this looks like, and what the benefits, the pros versus the cons are.
I think, can I just chime in though? I think they're going to have to change some of those requirements, because who are they going to get? Like a lot of these men are on the spectrum that are going under the radar, but they're on the spectrum. You have a lot of children that are literally on Adderall. Like, shoot, you got their parents on Adderall. I don't know who they going to get to enlist if they don't take some of those requirements off. They're going to have to.
And then when you think about boot camp, these kids have no discipline and structure. You come yelling in their face, they're going to get kicked out. Because who you talking to? You're not talking to me like that. You're not about to get in my face. Get out of my face, because that's how these kids are. So what are you going to do? These kids are not built for this. They don't even get spanked. Let's talk about it, right? They don't get whooped. They were gentle parented, most of them. How do you go to a military with this structure? You got to run. I don't care how tired you are. They're not doing this stuff. So in reality, they can do it and they can take the kids. But what's really going to happen? Them kids are going to be sent home. They're not going to survive.
Well, I'm cracking up because they kept telling me, you should go in the service. I was like, because ain't nobody going to tell me what time. That was me, Dominique. Ain't nobody going to tell me what time to get up. If they yell at me, I'm yelling right back. So I'm telling y'all now, don't be trying to pressure me to send me nowhere, because they're going to send me right back home. So don't do it. And then I'm thinking about, too, especially with our Black children, how many are committing suicide? Let's talk about the number of rapes that go untold in the service. All of that information is coming out about, especially for our women that are enrolling and going in there. And like you said, they're looking at what's happening to people. And a lot of people are getting hit on what happened to some Black people service-wise back in the day when they came out. They wasn't able to get the houses in the right neighborhoods. They were, right? All that historical stuff. And so I'm with y'all, like, a lot of these young people, they don't trust the government either. So absolutely not. But like you said, if that's something that you want to do, then go right ahead. By all means, go right ahead. But nobody, I don't want nobody telling me what I got to do. No.
I love the conversation because I agree with that. And back to the Gen Z and them not putting up with stuff. I mean, because our generation, or at least I know my generation, it was like go to school, get a job, go to school, go to college, graduate, get you a good job, and stay on your job 20 years, and then you can get a pension. Not now. People, nobody has pensions anymore unless you work for the state or federal government. These kids now, they want to be influencers. They want to have a following. They want to build a business, something that's passive. They don't want to be, because I have a friend that does home health care, and he said that they couldn't even, they were paying like $17 an hour, and they still couldn't get people to stay, these kids, because they're like, I'm not going to wipe nobody's butt for $17 an hour, and I got to be here how many hours a day, and I'm not into the boss thing. So that whole thing with authority, they're really not feeling it. And then, of course, with the internet and everything, the social media being so ubiquitous, like you get more of an inside scoop into what's going on behind the scenes. And so people you may have a lot more of these conscientious objectors. They're just more informed. Producer, put that what Tom said. I wanted to see what they said with some of the quotes. Okay, Tom, thank you. You ladies have to go back into the 60s that gave us Vietnam. Getting drafted was heavy. The rich white boys and college kids were fleeing to Canada and points beyond. Yeah, because they had people to protect them, like Donald Trump had family and wealth to protect them from from having to go. And I mean, look at how this country treats the veterans. I mean, the veteran healthcare system is completely broken. There are so many homeless veterans. There is no way somebody should have served their country and been exposed, their life and limb being put at jeopardy, and not even have a home to stay in. PTSD is very real. And I've dated quite a few men in the military, daughters, fathers in the military. And even if they never deployed overseas, the common thread that I've seen with people in the military is that they all have some form of PTSD. I really see Dr. Felice nodding her head. I got a few stats I wanted to talk about. Nearly all men ages 18 to 25 in the U.S. are required to register for the Selective Service. Okay, they want you able-bodied, 18 to 25. Failure to register can result in loss of federal student aid. Like I said, that was my first exposure to the registration for the Selective Service, is that I saw it on my free application for federal student aid. It can disqualify you from federal jobs and job training programs. Okay, ICE is hiring. And for some of y'all that want to work for ICE, you might not be able to do it if you didn't register for Selective Service. You over here draft dodging. Let me stop. And some states tie Selective Service registration to the driver's license application. So, when you go in there to get your driver's license, they're going to sign you up. They're going to sign you up. Do we have another video to play? Oh, millions of men are already registered through automatic state level systems. So y'all, we over here having this debate or this discourse, and baby, people are already registered. They don't even know it. And Selective Services has not been used for a draft since 1973, but registration is still mandatory. So basically, they're saying that the draft hasn't been enacted since 73, but registration is still mandatory. And we all remember that famous case of Muhammad Ali. I mean, that went all the way to the Supreme Court. He lost his boxing title. They stripped him of his title at the height of his career. And the fact that he came back from that is just illustrates how much he was the greatest. But I don't know too many athletes that can be stripped of their title in the height of their career, have to fight and go to the Supreme Court to not have, because he had a religious objection to going. He said the Viet Cong ain't never did nothing to me. Okay. So, yes.
Y'all saw this? Automatic registration for U.S. military draft to begin in December. To my understanding, I thought the war was won. To my understanding, last June, we had obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. To my understanding, I could be wrong. I could be allowing my lying eyes to see something that the United States government said, and it might still be up on the White House website, that they destroyed it. Maybe, but nonetheless, let's read a little bit more. Most men between the ages of 18 and 25 are already required to register with Selective Service, but automatic registration was mandated in December 2025 as a part of the fiscal 2026 National Defense Authorization Act. The change, which was meant to save money, they're trying to save money. They're trying to hook you up. They want to save you a couple dollars. Not on gas, not on eggs, but on this. Transfers responsibility for registration from individual men to SSS through integration with federal data sources, according to the website. The proposed rule is currently under review by the Regulatory Affairs Office and waiting finalization. The U.S. has not had a draft since the Vietnam War, with military service being voluntary since 1973. Did y'all notice? But former President Jimmy Carter in 1980 reinstated the Selective Service in the event of a national emergency, where the registry could be used to provide personnel to the Department of War and alternative service for conscientious objectors if authorized by the President and Congress. Did y'all hear that? I want to read that again, because I don't think you guys understand. When I say little key phrases like conscription is slavery, y'all think I'm being extreme. You go with that black pill, libertarian, right? I want to read this to y'all again. Pay attention. The registry could be used to provide personnel, to the Department of War, Iran, and alternative service for conscientious objectors. You go to jail. We got an alternative spot for that ass if you a conscientious objector. That ass not going to war, that ass we gonna send you over here. And the beautiful part about this, when the story gets told for people that are conscientious objectors, later on people call those people heroes. They say Muhammad Ali was a righteous man for standing up for what he believed. But right now you got people on the right saying, if you even question this war, that over 30 generals that have been fired said, absolutely not. Why would we do that, right? If you even question it, you're going to get fired or ridiculed or questioned by some of these media pundits and whatever. This is forcing a lot of you into becoming the silent majority. Stop being silent. Disregard for and disagreement with does not mean that you're not patriotic. It actually means you're more patriotic because you're not just doing what the government said. Your founders of America structured a government that was like, we are kind of like the government. Make sense? You also.
Wow, that was something else. Miss Dr. Angeline, what are your thoughts on what the brother said in the video?
That was a lot. It was a lot that brother said in that video. I agree. I do agree with a lot of what he said. I was thinking about it from the enslavement perspective too, that he was talking about. Because I was like, under this government, I just know, I firmly believe, let me say that it's going to be ours that's at the front of the line, just like in times past. This whole thing has me just, I'm a little nervous, Dr. Charm, about all of this. I really am. To then try to talk to us about the draft. And I didn't know that Jimmy Carter put this back. So that was interesting for me to find out. But, to say something along the lines about this draft not having taken place, almost to try to make us think like, don't worry about it. We haven't had a draft since I don't know how long. We're just doing this to put things in their proper perspective, just in case we need to be ready. And then with these nut jobs in the office, I'm like, we might have to be ready at any point in time. Right. So, I mean, I agree with a lot of what the brother said. I really did like it. I can't wait to start asking people, do they know about this story? Because this was good information for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to war every 3.5 business days. I got a few little stats concerning Black people in the military. Do you know that there are over 350,000 Black and African American personnel serving in the U.S. active duty and selective service? We make up 20% of enlisted troops. And then we also make up there are 2.4 million Black veterans in the United States. What else did I want to say? So we're 13% of the population, but 20% of the military.
And that's it. I'm sorry. And then to say if you don't go, you could wind up in jail. Like, this stuff is deep. It's deep. It's really, really deep. Especially when we look at the disparities of who's in prison and who's not, and for what reasons. And now this on top of it, because I can see a lot of our kids saying, just like Dominique said, don't tell me I got to go. Right. So now what? You want to go to jail next? Right? Now prison again? Crazy.
Crazy. Deborah, yeah, I would like to hear some more Black in the military stats. So roll down. Okay, so Black Americans have served in every war this country has fought, from the American Revolutionary War to today. How many of you all know? I mean, if you got a quality American education, that Crispus Attucks was the very first person to die in the American Revolutionary War, and he was Black, and he's Black and indigenous. But yep, very first person to die. And so I want to ask a question. Oh, during the Vietnam War, Black soldiers were overrepresented on the front lines and in casualties fighting a war abroad while battling racism within their own rank. Hence, Muhammad Ali saying, hey, no Viet Cong ain't never did nothing to me, okay? You know. From the Buffalo Soldiers to leadership figures like Colin Powell and Lloyd Austin, Black military service tells the story of resilience and excellence. Yep, the regiment in Arizona was based on the Buffalo Soldiers, where we were expanding to the West, and they needed those soldiers to help with that. And those Black soldiers were able to learn those Native American languages and interact more with the Native Americans, and that's who gave them that name, was the Buffalo Soldiers. So, Dr. Felice, I want to ask you a question. Do you think that serving in the military is an opportunity for Black people, or is it an obligation?
I think it's the individual. I know for my brother, my oldest brother, he started out in college and had to drop out because he wasn't ready for college. You know what I mean? He was having too much of a good time. And so the military actually provided him with the structure, routine, and discipline that he needed. Now he is a principal. He's doing well. He's got great benefits. Like, being in the service really benefited him and his family and positioned them well. And I was like, well, shoot, why didn't I think of that? Like, like when he went, they still was given the traditional benefits. They paid for him to go back all the way to his master's program. So for him, it was a wonderful opportunity that it never dawned on me to even think about it. And then I was like, wow, that could have been for me too. So I think it's the individual and where you are in the stage of your life and what it can do for you, and your personal attitude and perspective and how you go into it. So if you go into it knowing that it can benefit you and that there's an opportunity, I think that's what you're going to experience. But if you go in tainted, you're going to have a tainted view and experience with it as well. So it all depends on the individual and how you go in looking at it.
Yeah, I think I was too militant for the military, because I was the same thing. I think was that Dr. Angeline said that about that, because I took a survival class in college, and I didn't know that when I signed up, because I was like, oh, what's the world was coming, because it was close to Y2K. See, I'm dating myself. I'll be 50 next year, but I was like, I'm gonna sign up for this survival class in case everything this shit go to hell. I'm gonna be ready. I could, and I didn't know that they signed me up basically to be an ROTC. So they gave me some BDUs, battle dress uniform. I had the boots. I had to wear it on Thursdays and go to class. And then they stuck us out in the woods, which was super fun though. They taught us how to kill chickens and how to pitch a tent and all this stuff. And we did an escape and evasion exercise, and I almost made it to the finish line before I got caught. But when it was time to go, they were like, everybody load up in the van, because it was like an overnight. And we got to go back, And some little puny white boy started yelling at everybody, yo, clean this up, get that. And I'm like, nah, I didn't make a mess. Why is this little white boy cleaning, screaming at me like this? I said, nah, if I had ever thought about it, my hopes were dashed. So that was that's it. I knew I could, because I said I've been to go all on the white man. I can't have no little white boy yelling at me. So that I was too militant for the military. But I think that the benefits of the military are vast and many, and the veterans, they get these benefits and they deserve the benefits because we don't know what they go through. I mean, I have a family, that has been that were prisoners of war and have PTSD and things, and so you just don't know what they have to deal with. So when they get the veteran disability, it's the reason they get these benefits, but some of them get a check for the rest of their life. If they're 100% disabled, they can go to school on the GI Bill. They get the veteran home loan. It's 100% loan as a realtor. Dominique knows about this. As realtors, they do not have to put any type of down payment down, only maybe need to get help with closing costs if they don't have a closing cost. But it's a lot of benefits to it, and they deserve every last bit of it. That's all I gotta say. Dominique, have you worked with veterans with help getting veteran home loans? Have you seen the benefits of that?
Absolutely. And if you're a disabled veteran, you also don't pay property taxes. So yes, I've worked with them. So there's so many benefits to it. So even like, again, I'm not against the military. My grandfather he was in the Army. My grandfather, he started at 18. By the time before he was 40, he was already retired. He retired from 3 different places in his lifetime, had tons of money because he had the pension coming in from the military. He had his first job he retired from. Then he had another job he retired from. I think there are benefits to it. But like Dr. Felice said, it's a mindset and it's what you want to do. So I would never discourage, a person from going, but it has to be that individual's decision, to want to go, because there are benefits to it. Some people need the structure and discipline. Like for me, somebody hollering at me really don't bother me. I'm gonna do what I need to do, and I'm gonna keep it moving. And I know for some people, it's like, you're not yelling at me. That stuff doesn't do anything for me. What is my bottom line and what is my goal? When I got a goal in mind and I got stuff to do, I'm gonna do what I need to do, and you in my way. So you just gonna holler, and inside I'm probably laughing at you. But I got to get my money. I got to get what I'm accomplished. And you are just in the way. So I'm gonna let you holler and I'm gonna keep it moving. So I really think there's a lot of benefits to it. It just depends on what you want to do. So that's why I was encouraging my daughter 2 years ago, because I'm like, you don't have to enlist full time. Go to the reserves and see if this is something you want to do. You're going to give them 1 weekend a month. You can do it somewhere else. They pay for your travel. They're telling you everything that they're going to do. And then when you graduate, even though they're not paying 100% tuition, you give it 1 weekend a month. And then I forget, it's so many weeks, the year, right? I say you can do it during the summertime. It's money coming in that you're getting monthly. You're getting a stipend. They're giving you some money towards school. Then when you're done, you can purchase. So I was trying to set her up. But again, it has to be your individual choices. And you have to know what you're getting into. So just having these conversations. And I feel like this climate is making it difficult because they are going out fighting and we don't even understand what we're fighting for. We're fighting for ego. We're fighting for, pride. We're not fighting nothing real. So then that makes it difficult for people to want to believe in this anyway. It's not like the thing people want to do anymore.
But think about it too, Dominique.
There's
never been a war that people knew why we were really fighting it. Outside maybe World War I, II, and there's some people like, what war has there really been an understanding of why we was over there, except that you probably wanted something from them and wanted to get it in through the back door. So it's like there's never been a real reason. And so you just have to say that this is the rent you pay, but choosing to say that you want to have this as your country that you represent. And so this is what they're saying. I'm like, look, we got to protect it. And so how else are we going to protect our country and the benefits that come with being an American or whatever country you live in without having people who stand on the front lines for us? And that's why we have to really honor our veterans. For the ones who were forced, who weren't forced, who volunteered, who do take up that space so that we can have the liberties that we're afforded. So kudos to the veterans.
Yeah. And
I mean, with this crazy man, we don't know, he didn't kidnap the president of Venezuela, and now they went over there and they didn't shut down this and killed the Iranian president of the Ayatollah. So we don't know why they fight. I think it's on account of the Epstein files. And that must, and I have to ask my daughter's father about this. Like, how do you feel about the fact that this may be a diversion for the Epstein files coming out and things like that? I think it's crazy. Let's see what the chat is talking about. Deborah, can you put some stuff up from the chat? K. Let me see. Well, I'll click on what I can see here. Let's see. Selective Service. Who was talking about a home wrecker? Okay, double A.
A home wrecker is a person.
Wait a minute. Why am I Siri talking about a home wrecker? Okay. Since Armando Wall said 683 said, if I could just remember the name of the first indigenous black man whose name was changed to disassociate him from the land. After him, it became the process. Long after that, Jesse Jackson helped. I think you were talking about Crispus Attucks, Armando. Yeah, I think you were talking about Crispus Attucks. All right, double AA 82, you're welcome. I don't know what I said that resonated, but you are very welcome. You get yelled at in jail. Yeah, you do. And you really don't have no freedom in the jailhouse. Robbing the taxpayers. I mean, we spend billions and billions of dollars on the military complex. But did y'all see that Trump said they were canceling a bunch of these military contractors? I thought that was interesting. They said it was billions of dollars in contracts. So I wonder if they're scrambling over there with that going on, because that's some good money for those people that get those military contracts. It says Anonymous. Oh, Anonymous is here. What up, Anonymous? It said, I got no problem being drafted as long as Trump's son go with me.
I'll put Anonymous on that one.
Right. And Trump too. Send him too while you at it. Yes.
Yeah, we got. Oh, okay. Armando said it wasn't Crispus. Okay, Armando, correct me, honey. Look, I don't know everything. So if it was somebody else that wasn't Crispus, I know Crispus had indigenous blood, but if there was somebody else, then let us know. Yeah, it's oil and greed for sure. You know, we're on the oil standard. There was opportunities to be on other standard. Every time somebody tries to invent a fuel cell or something running on water, they always get unalived unexpectedly. So this is where they decided the money was going to be made off of the petroleum industry, and that's how this economy is set up. Do you trust the system behind this, Dr. Angeline?
Hell no. Absolutely not. I don't trust nothing that the system does. No, I can answer that real quick for you. I don't have to think about it. I don't need any time. And whoever said that oil and greed I'm with them. That's what this is. Look at all the countries now, like you said it, Dr. Charm. Venezuela, brown and black people. Iran, brown and black people. Iran even wanted at one time, right? Remember when they kidnapped all of those people, and then Iran sent the black ones back.
Yep, they let them go.
Right? Absolutely. Now you want to mess with Cuba, black and brown people. That's why I said absolutely not. I'm not saying anything bad again about anybody who wants to do this. You already heard all the benefits. I think it's great. But I think this is a straight setup. Absolutely not. No,
Wow.
I don't.
Dr. Felice, do you think that they should be getting people's consent to do this from your perspective, being the learned doctor of psychology here? What is your opinion?
I think that you always want somebody's consent before they go and do something, right? Like when people are forced to do something, no telling what's going to happen when they really get on those front lines. If you are not a willing participant, then you probably are going to, you can turn into a traitor. You might not do what it is they tell you to do. Like you want people who say, and they want their yes to be their yes. You want committed people. Now, I do also think that they run the risk of getting extremists too, who are going to sign up. And so you've got, it's this balancing act, but you always want people's consent to make sure that it goes well for us ultimately. And when you have people who are forced, no telling what they're going to do when they get on the front line.
Yeah, I think that's important. Dominique, why do you think this conversation isn't louder? Because to be honest, I didn't know about this until I saw the show topic, and I'm online all the time.
I think that, people don't really take it serious, or they don't understand, so I think those are some of the reasons. And I just think that we have to have platforms like this that are having these conversations, you know, so that we are aware of what we need to talks that we need to be having with our young men, you know, so that we can kind of guide them, because imagine them being in that situation. And I agree with Dr. Felice. You don't want to force people to do something that they don't want to do, because, you know, imagine somebody forcing you to do something. You're going to be angry. You're going to be resentful. You're not going to want to cooperate, because it's like, you made me do this. It's not what I want to do. Ideally, what they should do is make it more attractive to people that would potentially consider it if it made sense. They're snatching away benefits. They don't treat our veterans well, and then they want people to go serve for our country. Like you said, Dr. Charm, no veteran should ever be homeless or without health care or struggling. That doesn't make sense. They sacrificed, you know, to better America, and they're struggling. So you got to make it more attractive for people. People will want to do it if it makes sense. My daughter was willing to do it, but when we got there, it didn't make sense to her. And she's just like, no, I'm not. She was like, they're not paying for my tuition. I told her 100%, because I know back in the day, they did pay 100%. They're just going to give me a little small stipend. I can go get a little job and I can work, you know, a couple of days a week and make that money. You got to make it more attractive for them so people will want to do it. And then you don't have to force people to do it, because there'll be, you know, back in the day, they were banging the doors down to do it. And I think it needs to be celebrated. You get basketball players are more celebrated. Everybody else is more celebrated. But if you go to trade school, if you go to the military, you hear nothing about it. They celebrate what is it, National College Day, where everybody talks about the colleges the kids are going to. We don't celebrate anything else. If we celebrated it more and we had more benefits surrounding it, then you'll have people banging the door down. When they come home, they used to celebrate the veterans when the military people, when they came home. They don't do that stuff anymore. So why do people want to participate in something that they're not getting? It's no benefits. There's no celebration. It doesn't look appealing, and nobody even thinks it's fun. Why would they want to do it? They're not going to want to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, even ICE giving them like a $50,000 signing bonus or a $20,000 signing bonus or something like that. So,
okay,
that's
I found this on the web.
I'm turning it to my damn Siri. So if they were given $50,000, and I know the military does give them some type of bonuses and things, especially when they re-enlist, but if they were given more benefits, hey, you got automatic housing when you get back, you got free health care for the rest of your life that's not through the VA, like you can choose to go to the VA, or you can got private insurance. If you make it really attractive, baby, you have all kind of folks signing up. And I like what you said, Dominique, about the athletes. People want to be athletes and they want to be influencers, but they don't want to be in the military. And that reminds me of Pat Tillman. He was an NFL player. And he died. He volunteered to go to war and died. Believe it was friendly fire, but either way, I mean, he still died in the line of duty for his country, and he was an active NFL player. And I remember him, you know, very vividly, because he was from Arizona, and I lived in Arizona at the time when he died. So, you know, you got to think about that kind of stuff. Deborah, can you show me some of the chat? What is the chat talking about? I mean, I think this has been a good conversation so far. You know, this and y'all got some strong opinions, and I love it when we can come together about that.
So while we waiting on the comments to come up, another thing.
Okay, let me go in here.
In terms of the military,
D3DD440 says the military sounds like slavery. Anonymous said Pat Tillman was a fool. I mean, whether you think he was a fool or not, he still volunteered, and he didn't need to. Like he went and volunteered to serve his country. Oh, Armando says the queens are cooking today as usual. It says, Anonymous also said the military is full of Southerners. That's why they renamed the military bases after the Confederacy generals. There's military bases that are named after Confederacy general. How is that legal? Like, they're traitors to their country. Anyways, that's weird.
Yeah, but I can see that, right? Because even look at what's happening now. All the black names that were to get promotions, now all of a sudden, all of their names are removed from the list, and they can't even be considered for promotions. That's exactly why I don't trust none of it. Not with our kids, not right with this stuff going on now. Nope.
And the thing about the military is, like somebody mentioned, one of you queens mentioned a little bit earlier that it does give you discipline. I think Dr. Felice, you were saying about one of your family members that served. And I remember my very last boyfriend, he didn't have a father. He didn't grow up with his father. And he said, because I asked, and he had served 7 years in the Army. And I asked him, like, why did you join the military? He said he wanted to become a man, and he knew he didn't have a father. He knew that was that they were going to train him up to be a responsible man. And they did. He was very very dependable and responsible. Like if he said, I'm gonna be here at this time, he was there at that time. Like he was never one to flake out. So it does kind of step in, and it becomes that authority figure for them. D3, DD4 says a humiliation ritual. I mean, yeah, but if you pledge Q Dog or Kappa Alpha Psi, whatever, the fraternities, you're gonna be initiated, and that's part of being initiated into something that's humiliation. Shoot, I'm a doctor in medical school. They did the same thing. I said that I felt like I crossed over to something because they hazed the hell out of us in medical school. Definitely hazed us. I don't know about the psychology programs or for the
nursing,
or
nursing,
for the
same thing.
Dr. Angeline, yours is in Doctors in Education.
Yes, and guess
yes.
what? My book is called The Whiteness of Academia, AKKKA, and the Making of a Slave, because they put me through hell, and I turned my dissertation into a book and talked about it. So yes, that's real.
So we've been hazed, and if you go to get your doctorate, you've been hazed, okay? So it's a humiliation ritual. How bad do you want this piece of paper, baby? Let's see here. I do want to ask one more question, but before we start to go into final thoughts, I'm going to ask this question to Dominique. Dominique, what would you tell a young man turning 18 today?
In terms of the military? So I'm assuming because of, in terms of the military, I would just tell them to,
military, whatever else. Yeah.
Okay. I would just tell them to do research, right? First of all, like when you have children, you don't wait until they turn 18 to start having conversations. We're having conversations along the way, and we're positioning them and putting them in rooms so that they can make informed decisions, right? They need to understand what could potentially happen. What are the pros? What are the cons? What are the benefits related to, the military and anything else that they're doing? And just having conversations about what life looks like. Okay, if they prepare their mindset, because there is a potential if they force it that they have to go. So having them have the right mindset will help them get through it, right? And just, again, I just believe in having conversations with our kids and you don't want them blindsided. So having real, honest, vulnerable conversations, this may happen. This could be the benefit of it. Your goal is to do this, but if this happens, you will be okay. You will get through it. This is what this looks like. And then have them have conversations with people that have been in the military so that they can have an ideal, because this may be something that is inevitable. So then what do? They have to go potentially, or they can, end up in jail. They can end up with fines. It's like, okay, what do you do? So just having conversations, positioning them, putting them around people that can give them real, honest information about the military, what this looks like, and then just talking to them about the selective enrollment, because they need to know about
it. And Dominique, where can the people find you?
So you can find me on all social media platforms at the Whitmore Group. And then you can go to our website at thewhitmoregroup.com.
Hey, Dr. Felice, I want to ask you, what, having had a family member who has served and that improved their life, through the military, and being a strong, opinionated person yourself, if someone has come from a disadvantaged background, what would you tell them about possibly serving in the military as one of their options? And then tell us where people can find you.
That's a good question. And I don't know if I could really tell them what the benefits would be today, since a lot of the benefits that they had back in the day are no longer there. So I'm really going to encourage them and parents to cash in on that individual child's purpose, plan, and call on life, and explore those options instead of the military. I would tell them to look into what it is they're really good at, and then explore and exhaust all the resources available to them to pursue that. I don't know if the military is their best route anymore. And so I can't be honest to say that that's what I would encourage them when I'm hearing that all of the benefits are no longer there. Even not only currently, but when they get out, it's not there either. So I don't see the benefit.
Okay. That's deep. That's deep. Yeah. And then where can people find you, Dr. Felice?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram. I'm on Threads as the Be Big Coach, and also Real Talk with Felice, and my name, Felice Hightower Britt.
Excellent. Okay, and then finally, Dr. Angeline. Women, because this selective service is specifically for men. But Dr. Angeline, as a woman, as a female, as the melanated neuron, queen here, what would you tell women that are serving in the military as far as maybe what challenges that you think they may face, or just period? What would you tell women about this whole situation?
Basically, I think for me, I would probably have them speak with other women, because I've never been there. I can tell them what I've heard, right? Mm-hmm. I can tell them what statistics and research may say, but the best thing I believe would be to speak to other women who, I would say maybe even in the past 2 years have been in there versus way back in the day, right? Because I heard all these great things about the service. And when I think about my friends and family, they were in the service a while ago. And as the queens have just said, it's not the same today. So, and then as a Black woman, right, it's one thing to be a woman, but it's another thing to be a Black woman. And so I would also say, let's look at that and let's take all of that into consideration as well. Yeah. Okay.
And thank you for that. And where can people find you?
Facebook, I'm Angeline Dean. Everything else, I'm Dr. Angeline Dean. Or you can find me at Intersystems, INTERSYSTEMZ.rocks.
Excellent. And then for my opinion, y'all, I think it's an interesting conversation. I'm not surprised about the automatic registration, because everything these days is so automated. I mean, I think I had to go get a social security card, and they texted me and were emailing me, all your appointments at this time, and then when it got canceled because the computers were down, I got an email about that. So everything is automated these days, and so I'm not surprised by this. I think the military for a certain person, it can be very good. It gives job training, a specialized skill set training that people may not have gotten in the outside world for free like that, without having to pay. And so people come out with a specialized skill set that can benefit them for the rest of their lives. It can also look good on a resume. And it does teach leadership, and there's opportunity for growth with the military. And I've seen that with my family members. My sister went in and she became a respiratory therapist, and she's been a supervisor, and she works for a military hospital. But she's been in end-stage pulmonary rehab for over a decade. I think she's going on 20 years now, and she loves it. So it does give you specialized skill set and training that you may not have gotten, that you would not have gotten for free in the outside world. And you guys can find me on Instagram, CharmGirl77. Y'all, I have funny comedy skits and videos, and I post when I'm going to be performing next. I just did a hot sauce video, and it was actually on my TikTok. My TikTok is CharmGirl7777. And I just was in Walmart talking about, I saw a 32-ounce bottle of hot sauce, and it was a 26-second video, and that thing is at like 15,000 views. So you never know, because I saw a 32-ounce bottle of hot sauce, and I was like, I got to comment on this. And I don't know, that resonated with everybody, with the Louisiana hot sauce folks and everybody else. So I was like, it's so interesting what people laugh at, but I'm always posting funny skits and just observational stuff. And you can find me at CharmGirl77, and for real estate, Dr. Charm Luxury. And I just am proud to say that I'm number 3 for the month of March for my new firm in GCI in gross commissions for the month of March, number 3. And that was like really my first good month doing apartment locating with my new firm. Just lastly, we do want to honor international Black women. Dr. Agnes Binagwaho of Rwanda, former Minister of Health, who helped rebuild Rwanda's healthcare system after the genocide. She focused on making healthcare affordable and accessible at a national level. Under her leadership, Rwanda reduced out-of-pocket medical costs and expanded insurance coverage across the country. Her work shows that systems do not have to work against the people. They can be designed to support them. Shout out to the chat, Anonymous, some of our other folks. I'm sorry, I can only remember Anonymous right now. Armando Walls, the Real Black Lexicon. Everybody, just thank y'all for participating. Thank y'all for coming in. Double AA 82. We love you. Excellent. Thank you so much. And y'all have a great one. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the congratulations.